Hi friends, my name is Sunan Sharma and you are watching Career Talks. So today we have a very special guest and his name is Martin and he's having close to total of 22 years of experience and he's an agile coach, consultant, change agent and he already helped a lot of organizations to start their agile transformation journey here in Netherlands. So welcome Martin. Thanks
Hi, Shannon.
for giving your time.
Hi, Shannon. Hi.
Yeah, hi Martin.
Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. So, Martin, before we start, if you can just tell us a little bit about yourself, your total experience, and your experience as a Scrum Master, and just a little bit, if you can take some, 2-3 minutes to explain about your experiences.
Oh yeah, good. That's like you said, it started a lot of years ago, and then I was an acceptance tester. And so from the IT, I liked working in IT. But when you look in my career, it was more and more people oriented. So because the working with the people, that's what I like, and to see people flourishing. And so starting as a acceptance tester, project manager, and a product manager, and then I was a manager for a department of 20 people, and at the end it was 50 people. And but the coaching was the coaching of the people. That's what I most like. So when I quit there, and then I thought, what I'm going to do, and where can I do put all my coaching skills and experience in, and then then I came into the agile world, and that's it. That is actually how I always worked as a manager, and so not giving people orders, but work with the people and find out what is best for them and how can they how can they flourish, how can they grow in their human being, and picking up the stuff that is good for them, for themselves. So therefore I started as a Scrum Master and working as an Agile coach and helping also the management to get a step further in the Agile way of working. And it is good to have both actually. So to have both the IT experience, to have an understanding of how what the people in development team are doing, and at the other hand, very people oriented on what do you like to do, what is fun to do, actually fun in your work. And for some people that is sometimes a difficult question. So what about that? What about fun in your work? I'm not working for the fun. I'm working for to give my family a good living. And but when you can combine it, then you have a great life. So that's
Yeah, well
uh,
said, well said. Yeah, Martin. So, Martin, as you have mentioned, you have played a lot of different roles, and this is for something for other people as well. So, still, like a lot of people confused, how to do this transition. So, from their existing role, so let's say someone is a tester, developer, or project manager. So, how they want to come into this role of a Scrum Master. So, how you have done this transition, and was it this difficult or easy for you this transition? If you can share, like.
it still is difficult. So because the transition never stops, but you just grow in it, and you find out after a few years experience what where you're good in, and what you like. So where then you actually, when you're looking back after a few years, you say, hey, that was the direction I took. So sometimes it's not that you don't think of, I will take this step or they will take that step, but it's just somehow growing in it. And it is also like, I think it is very important to keep training. So and probably when you start, and it will never end, you do both trainings as hard skills. So things that you just have to learn how to test, how to develop, and so on. But the other thing is the soft skills you're also developing. So how you work with other people, and so when you are a tester, for example, how do you work with a developer? How do you understand? How do you challenge each other? But also, how are you going with your product owner? And and maybe even challenge your product owner, because your product owner maybe is also not always right. So, but how do you do that talk? And when you found out, after a while, you find out that it is maybe very interesting to do that talk, and do you think, I want to know more of that, and maybe you find another training, and you're just trying to experience and to to find out what's working for you and what's not. So then you are just growing in a kind of direction, and then maybe at some times you have to take a step to find, let's just try. Let's just try. You go to your manager and you say, I like that Scrum Master work because I like to work with my product owner. I like to work with my customers, and also in the demo where we do at the end of the sprint. It's nice to stand on the podium and let other people talk, and then you find, so let's do the step and let's try to be a Scrum Master of one team. And or just ask your Scrum Master to do, for example, to lead the daily stand-up, or and maybe after you can ask them to lead the retrospective, because I think that is the most important meeting you have as a Scrum team, the retrospective, and so then you can learn and you can see if it is something for you to do.
And will any kind of certification also help, just to make some basic understanding before jumping into this kind of role?
Yeah, and of course you need, in the current world, you need to have your PSM1 or PSM2, and of course. But the main thing, to be honest, but because then you know how Scrum works. But the trainings I did were a lot of soft skills trainings. Also, I did a team coaching training, and which was quite different as your 2 days PSM1 training, because it was more than 1 year, 3-4 days a month. And then it is learning about yourself. That is what coaching is. It's about learning about yourself, how you experience situations, how you feel when something happens. Because normally when you are in a situation, you don't know what happens, but you know how you feel. So if you know what kind of situations brings what feelings to you, then from there you can find out, maybe this is the case, and you can just put it on the table. And maybe this is the situation, and then you have a conversation with the team. So these kind of training to learn to learn about yourself. So what are your white spots in your own? It's these kind of trainings are good to have as a Scrum Master.
Okay.
That's a coaching skills you will need.
Okay, good. And so Maarten, if I'm going to ask you, if you can tell some of the good qualities or attributes or skill that need to be a good Scrum Master. So if we can look out for a few of the traits for a good Scrum Master. So according to you, what are those?
Mm-hmm. I think first of all you need to be a good listener. Listen also sometimes start with asking questions, but sometimes just keep your mouth shut and listen and see what's going on. So maybe that's the most important, most important skill. And I think, and that is one of the Scrum values, of course, as well. You need to have some courage, just to put something on the table, or asking questions which are maybe not that easy to ask. So that's also a way, the thing that you need to have to be a Scrum Master. And I think at least when you start with a team which just starts up, so with a new team, you must be able to structure life, to structure agendas, to give some structure to your team, and it also means to give some structure to yourself. Because it just normally doesn't exist. So you have to find out, okay, which structure would help here, and how I can help the team. And at the beginning, is to give them some structure. And then after a while, you find out that you can just leave it or change structure, and they will do some things and so on. So that is finding out, okay, where can I stop? What can I let them do? And just experiment what works and what doesn't.
Okay, thanks, Maarten. So now let's say someone is started his role as a Scrum Master. So what do you think, like, what are the few challenges, or you can say some conflicts, which Scrum Master can face from your team or from your organization, internal or from the other client or stakeholders? So if you can share like one or two example, for with your experience, like, this sort of conflicts can happen, and how to tackle them, so it will be helpful for other people.
Yeah, one thing is it is always happening everywhere because it's I think in most companies Scrum is still quite new because these companies already exist for years. So, and then, for example, 5 years ago, the company started. Okay, well, let's work. We will work on Scrum. So most of the people who work there, they have a lot of experience, and they maybe also already worked there 10, 20 years. And then they suddenly need to do everything different. That is what is told to them. But that also means sometimes that they feel disqualified. Like, yeah, we already worked 20 years like that, and that is wrong because now we have Scrum, and that is good. So you also worked with waterfall, and we all know that waterfall projects are bad projects. So when you are a project manager doing waterfall project, you are a bad project manager, which is, of course, is not the case. So, but imagine that you were that project manager, and you need to work with Scrum, and you got the feeling that this is the message. How would you think about Scrum? So, so that won't work. So what I do in these situations is to work with them and find out what their success stories are in the past. And then you find out that there are a lot of similarities in these success stories and what you are doing in Scrum. And one easy thing is when you ask a project manager for a success story, in a lot of cases they come with a situation where a project went very wrong. So the deadlines were not possible to achieve, and so okay, we have to do something. And what is happening then? You start a task force, you start a war room, you get everyone in the room from different kind of functions, different kind of departments even, and you say and you sit together and find a solution at that moment. That sounds like a multifunctional team sitting in one room working together. It sounds like Scrum, isn't it? So so when you have that talk with that project manager, what was a project manager, and now maybe is a product owner, or was one of the developers in the team, or whatever, then you can make the combination. Okay, because you like that so much, and now in Scrum you can do it every day. So to find the things, to find the situations where people are good in, and these situations still exist, Scrum or not. So and the most important part of that is appreciate what everyone did in their past. So people have a lot of living experience. And that is really all important for your team. So that's one example that actually in all assignments I did, always happened. So yeah, another one. Do you want another example?
No, I think it's very well explained. Yeah, thanks Maarten for that. Yeah. So and I'm like a little bit curious to how this role of agile coach is different from a scrum master, because you already have played both of these kind of roles. So let's say someone is who is like a senior scrum master or a scrum master, and they want to come up into, or they want to step up into the role of agile coach. So what's the suggestion for them according to you? Like,
okay, actually it's quite easy because the scrum master is very well described. So when you look at scrum.org, when you do your Scrum Master exam, it is exactly so. What is the Scrum Master? So that's very well defined. An Agile code is not. So everything what's not a Scrum Master is probably an Agile code. So And so you can look at the Spotify model, and Spotify said, I just don't like the word Scrum Master. It's a bad word. It's not the master. It's not only about Scrum, but it's more about Agile. So just we call the Scrum Master Agile Coach. So there is a way you can be an Agile Coach, which is just another word as for a Scrum Master. But in a lot of cases, the Agile Coach is more the Scrum Master of the Scrum Masters, or helping the management team to get a step further, which is, as I believe, is also a role of the Scrum Master. So where you see in the Scrum Master is not only working with his team, but he's also working with the stakeholders and people around the team to bring the Agile world to them, and to help them living and working in that Agile way of working. So probably where you just grow as a Scrum Master, and your team is growing, not that they got bigger, but they just get more mature, you can have more attention to your environment, what's going on around you. And so you're stepping then or in the world of what we normally call the world of the Agile Coach, and working together with the management, maybe do sometimes a retrospective with the product owners, because it's not only for the Scrum team important just to have a retrospective, but it is for everyone important just to have a reflection of what you're doing. So you can also lead a retrospective with the product owners, and that is what we're normally when someone's doing that, to say the Agile Coach is doing that, or so that could be the difference. When you just ask me, is that work so much different as a Scrum Master? I think I just say, no, it's not, because they are all people and they have all the same possibilities and the same problems. And what I just told about someone who was working in a project, in a waterfall project, and have that experience in the Scrum team, then he said, I don't want this change. When you have a manager and you said telling your manager and the manager, now we have all these Scrum teams and they work and they are changed, but you need to change as well to make that Scrum teams more effective. And probably you have the same reaction. So what did I do wrong? So why should I change? So if it's the same situation, if it is a manager or it's a product owner or if it's just someone of a development team, it is the same. But I also understand that it is maybe you have you need some more encouragement sometimes to ask the same things in a management team as in your Scrum team. That could be, and it helps when you have some more experience and know what you can expect and how you can deal with situations that are strange or unexpected.
Okay. Thanks for that, Maarten. Okay. So moving on to the next query. So let's say if you have to give some kind of suggestions for any budding Scrum Master. So let's say someone wants to come into this role. So what, according to you, like 2-3 important things which someone has to think of before coming to this mind? Like most of the people thought it's very easy job to do and all those stuff. So do you really think or what is your opinion on that?
I think the really easy job don't exist. So it's just what you like and what you don't, or where you're good in and what you're not. But I think the main thing is just try, just do, experiment. Also, Agile working is about experimenting. Yeah, so little steps. So don't throw everything away and say I stop now my job as a tester and now I go for a Scrum Master, because it just doesn't work like that. Just do the little steps. Having the courage to do actually the step. So because it is strange in the situation that you are in your own team, and then suddenly you are leading that retrospective with your own teammates. It is a strange situation, but just try out, do it. Yeah. Or maybe asking another team just to try to find out what is if you like it. And so it's the same thing as we all learn for Agile way of working, is have an idea of what is your ideal world, how you want to go there, or actually how does your ideal world look like, where are you now, and which little steps can you take to to at least go some closer with to your ideal world, and which experiments you need to do to find out if that ideal world is as ideal as you thought it would be.
Okay. Thanks for that. And I have like one last and a little bit funny question for you. So, how much salary one can expect as a Scrum Master or Agile coach here in Netherlands? Like, you know, if someone is coming from other part of world, you know, to Netherlands for.
Yeah, you also take into account all the amount of money you have to pay for your rent of your house, don't you? So, so you've also more costs. So don't forget that. So yeah, but I think that there are a lot of Scrum Masters that just started as a job. They have to maybe 3-4 years experience in having being a Scrum Master, and I don't know what could be then 30,000-40,000 a year. So it is about 3,000 euro a month. It could be, and it go up to what should it be? Until the 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 a month. Way for an agile coach and coaching a board of directors or so.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So the sky the limit. So okay. The bigger the company, the higher the directors, the more money you get, and the work is the same. So
good to know that. Okay. Thanks, Martin, for that. So I hope, like, we had a very good conversation. At least I really love, the way you have explained all those things. And whoever is going to watch this video, I'm sure they will also learn a lot of, inputs from you. So thanks a lot for your time, Martin.
Thank you, Sunat. It was nice talking to you, and nice having to share my experience with you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.